This is painful to watch. This hurts me on multiple levels. I know a lot of people are fed up with mining and just how much it's making it so that we can't get GPUs, and dozens of people sent me this clip, and I wanted to live react to it, especially since like this just seems so absurd. Obviously you can see that there's a steamroller and then there's a bunch of crypto mining stuff. We'll watch it in just a second, but just to give some context to what's going on in this video, the title of the articles that I've been seeing is like 1,000 Bitcoin PCs get annihilated by steamroller. Experience justice. Look at this. These bad computers did the crime. This is obviously supreme hyperbole, but that's the general idea behind all of this. There were mining farms and somehow a government got their hands on it and then just absolutely massacred them. So for the full backstory, according to a Malaysian newspaper, there are people who were stealing electricity in order to power these ASIC miners. These are not Bitcoin PCs, as PC Gamer article is so generously calling them. If you can just even take a look at the thumbnail, those are ASICs, which technically I guess you could call it a computer. It's not a PC, it's not a personal computer. ASIC just means that it's very specifically for Bitcoin. So this is not causing the GPU shortage at all whatsoever, but it has 1,069 nice ASICs that are apparently going to get rolled over. The miners were confiscated during 6 raids on properties near an airport, and it was in conjunction with the Malaysian authorities and one of their energy companies because they were stealing nearly $2 million worth of electricity over 3 months. $2 million of electricity, that is absurd. How do you use that much? Like, I pay 10 cents per kilowatt hour. So $2 million divided by my 10 cents per kilowatt hour is 20 million I could have done that in my head. 20 million kilowatt hours is what I would have had to use. I don't know what their local electricity rates are, but that is obscene. So according to my latest electricity bill, I used roughly 1,300 kilowatt hours in just the last month since we've moved to Pennsylvania, which includes me charging my electric vehicle, me running all of the lights in my office, me having all of my PC set up. So just doing some quick math, that would be 15,000 months of electricity use for me. That would be 1,200 years of electricity use that they used in 3 months. That is insane. Regardless of the fact that these guys weren't taking anything from gamers for their PCs, this is like one of the conversations that is happening surrounding Bitcoin and cryptocurrency mining. When you have proof of work algorithms, it takes an absurd amount of power to actually generate that. And even with the conversations of transferring over to more renewable energy sources, you're still using that energy. 1,200 years of energy used in a single quarter. That is just absolutely mind-boggling to think of the scale. And just think that this is one operation using only 1,000 ASIC miners. If we're taking a look at the images that are coming out of China with all of the miners that are getting shut down there, it is tens and hundreds of thousands of ASICs that are just being turned off. That is so many megawatts. That can't be good for the environment, that can't be good for the grid. And obviously in this situation, they were stealing directly from the electricity company, where there was that article that came out a little while ago about that 3,400 PS4 operation farm that was also stealing electricity. It seems like if people are getting their hands on this, they don't want to pay for the electricity to make it pure profit. There are consequences involved. So let's go ahead and see what those consequences are, because this is just, I guess this is the punishment in Malaysia. If you're caught stealing, they, instead of recycling these or the government taking it on and then doing mining, they're just gonna do this. Oh man. Like, I've seen comments of people saying, oh, well, why didn't they just recycle these? And the truth is, you can't turn these into anything else. These are ASICs. So the only thing that these things are gonna be good at is mining cryptocurrencies. At the very most, they could have recycled them and turned them and just scrapped them for all of the things that are actually in the PCs, maybe recovered the fans and the power supplies. There is some legitimate stuff that could happen, but I'm just, oh, that hurt to watch. Like, clearly, whoever filmed this knew that this would get a reaction, because, wow, like, they turned the comments off, and that makes me sad. It makes me really sad to think, number one, of the sheer amount of electricity that was being used to power these. Number two, the sheer waste of everything that's going on here, and how these are likely just gonna be put in a landfill. And just to think how we as a society are just creating so much disposable trash that's getting thrown out. And like, These likely are Bitcoin miners that are gonna be obsolete in a few years. Like, the scale of Bitcoin has just continued to ramp up and up and up. And a lot of the ASIC miners that came out when Bitcoin was first iterated are now more or less useless, and they can't be reprogrammed. And so they are just kind of fodder for the dump, which is just, this hurts me on multiple levels. I do think if we're looking at articles like the one that people are sending me from PC Gamers where they say, wonder why not just auction it off, that's not a bad idea. You see this with civil asset forfeiture, where the police stations might actually at some point raffle or have some sort of auction to raise money for whatever they're doing. Find a way to repurpose the PCs. That's just not how these are only good. These are not PCs. These are not, you can't game on them. Those aren't graphics cards. Those are simply just good for Bitcoin mining. So I understand why they're not repurposing them, because they're only good for one activity. I have to wonder, was the Malaysian government doing this out of principle? Like, do they have something where if they just collect something from illegal operations like this, whether it be drugs or whatever, they destroy it? Or if they're trying to send a message to people who are actually out there doing it and then know that there's more? Because this isn't the first time this has happened. According to the PC Gamer report, back in March, somebody was accused of stealing $2.2 million worth of electricity from the same energy company, and they still haven't found him. And the electricity theft has caused frequent power outages, and since 2021, 3 houses have been flattened or razed because of electrical fires due to illegal electricity supply connections. This is absolutely raw. I've seen plenty of illegal electricity connections from living in South Africa, and it's not pretty when the grid is not being properly handled. If there's illegal connection, like, fires are absolutely devastating. So according to the police, a total of 6 people have been successfully charged, and they're going to be jailed for up to 8 months and have a fine as well, and have to watch all of those Bitcoin miners be flattened. Oh my gosh. I think if there's anything that I can take away from this video is, number one, if you are going to run a Bitcoin operation, get your electricity legally. If it's free electricity because you're at an apartment and they just include it in the rent, likely understand that your landlord might come for you at some point if your electricity rates go through the roof. But also, I really would have loved to see these auctioned off, potentially to raise some money. I would have loved to see these repurposed or recycled. Getting flattened like this, I get the statement, don't try to do this or else we'll take out your entire stock. This hurts me. Oh man. This seems like a legal and environmental crisis all rolled into a single video. What do you guys think of the Bitcoin miners being flattened? Does this make you happy? Does this make you sad? I know a lot of the reactions are gonna be like, that's what you get, miners, and a lot of the other reactions are just like, why? Why would you destroy when you could use? I wanna hear from you guys down below in the comments. Why don't you sound off down there? And I want you also to go check out the latest vlog that I did, where I kind of give you the overview of the space that we've got going on here in our new Pennsylvania set. More UFD tech videos are coming along the way. It's taken weeks for me to get everything set up, especially with just our son having so many new appointments here because we're trying to establish his like rhythm of care. So it's just trying to balance life and work at the same time has been a little rough, but more UFD tech videos coming at you sometime soon. I'll see you in the next video, friends. Cheers.